Passover of 1862. J. A. Jewell.
Spring 1862. It has been more than 12 months since Confederate forces have fired on Fort Sumter. As the war rages on, Union support from the Jews comes from the unlikeliest of places, even President Lincoln's foot doctor. Izahar Zachariah is a charismatic doctor who develops a rapport with his famous patient. The two build a trusting friendship.
He absolutely charmed Lincoln. He spent time with him, conversing with him, and Lincoln decided to use him as a spy. Why? Because as a chiropodist, he noted that he moved easily between the classes. He moved easily between military and civilians.
In December 1862, Lincoln decides to send Zachariah to New Orleans to report on the Union occupation. Over several months, Zachariah's letters indicate Southern support of Lincoln's mission to reunite the country.
The people every day are becoming more favorably disposed to the government, not only in this city, but throughout the different parishes. This I know from personal observation. Most respectfully, your obedient servant, Izahar Zachariah.
Jewish contributions to the war effort are acknowledged at the highest levels of government, but sometimes their participation is not always welcome. While President Lincoln supports Jewish involvement in the Union cause, the Civil War finds many others harboring anti-Semitic feelings.
The Israelites have come down upon the city like locusts. Every boat brings in a load of the hook-nosed fraternity. Augusta Chronicle, July 1862.
Jews were accused of profiteering. The Jews were accused of trading with the enemy, regardless of the sides. So there was a great deal of distrust against Jews.
Even Union generals did not hide their disdain for Jewish traders.
A great deal of smuggling is going on to the Holly Spring Army, but this is mostly managed by Union men and Jews, instigated by a sense of gain. William T. Sherman.
On December 17, 1862, Ulysses S. Grant issues a wartime decree that threatens the rights of Jews in the U.S.
The Jews as a class are hereby expelled from the department within 24 hours from the receipt of this order.
Known as General Order Number 11, it declares that all Jews must leave the territory under Grant's control immediately.
General Order Number 11 flew in the face of the basic American principles of American liberty, religious freedom, and that all men are created equal.
General Grant's infamous order is the most blatant anti-Semitic act in U.S. history and threatens to undermine everything that American Jews have worked to achieve.
It would have suggested that America was like all the other countries. Today they like you, tomorrow they may expel you.
According to most historians, General Grant's order is written in an effort to stop the trading of cotton for money and weapons for the Confederates.
Huge amounts of money could be made in both directions. And it's not surprising that recent Jewish immigrants who had a background in trade, as well as large numbers of non-Jews, have found the temptation irresistible.
Grant, however, decides to single out the Jews as the source of illegal trading.
Perhaps because of acquired prejudices that had long existed that suggested Jews are disloyal, Jews are simply trying to profiteer. Grant becomes persuaded that the way to end smuggling is to expel all the Jews from his war zone, and that will end the problem.
General Grant's edict ousting all Jewish residents, covers a massive area known as the Department of the Tennessee. It encompasses tens of thousands of square miles and includes the states of Kentucky, Tennessee, and Mississippi.
They had 24 hours to be expelled, literally, from their homes. Quite amazing. Happened here in America.
In towns like Oxford, Mississippi, and Paducah, Kentucky, Jews are forced from their homes by Union troops. Captain Philip Traunstein, a Jew serving in the 5th Ohio Volunteer Cavalry, is part of the Union Army that forces Jews out of their homes and businesses. Shortly after Grant's order, Traunstein leaves the Union Army in protest.
I can no longer bear the taunts and malice of those to whom my religious opinions are known, brought on by the effect that that order has instilled into their minds. I herewith respectfully tender you my immediate and unconditional resignation. Philip Traunstein.
Rabbi Isaac Leeser of Philadelphia vehemently protests the order in his newspaper, The Occident, the oldest major Jewish newspaper in the United States.
Will not the enlightened and the brave patriots and friends of liberty, of all creeds, unite with us Israelites to put down incipient tyranny?
Leaders of the Jewish organization B'nai B'rith write to President Lincoln asking him to stop the expulsions.
In the name of religious liberty, of justice and humanity, we enter our solemn protest against this order.
12 days after Grant's edict, the Jews of Paducah, Kentucky, send an urgent telegram to President Lincoln demanding he stop the deportations.
We feel greatly insulted and outraged by this inhuman order, the carrying out of which would be the grossest violation of the Constitution and our rights as good citizens under it.
Caesar Cascal, one of the leaders of the Paducah community, travels to Cincinnati to alert prominent American rabbis Isaac Mayer Wise and Max Lilienthal about the expulsions. He is urged to go straight to President Lincoln.
Everyone is so horrified that they then ride through the night to Washington.
After arriving in Washington, Caesar Cascal is accompanied by influential Republicans to the White House, where he is received immediately by the president. When Cascal confronts Lincoln with General Order No. 11, the president makes a biblical comparison.
Abraham Lincoln compared it as the children of Israel have, so to speak, been sent from their land, and Cascal is supposed to have responded, yes, and that is why we've come to Father Abraham.
The Hebrew Passover is a lying fraud because they were never enslaved by the African Egyptians. Right. Instead, every slave ship of the Atlantic American slave trade was owned by a Jewish family, is the truth of the matter. This ugly Jehovah monster, son of Lucifer, their God, is the worst devil in this universe and is a backroom office clerk on the planet Nibiru, where they came from to this planet as shape-shifting Anunnaki reptilians 5,774 years ago. When American Gentiles outlawed slavery, they maintained it in Rhode Island and Long Island for another 35 years. They will not get away with lying on Sirius B's culture anymore, not as long as there is a breath in my body. I will never allow it to go on. I will debate anyone, anywhere on this subject.
Over the years, they create strong communities, succeed in business, and even serve in the highest levels of government. One such person is Judah Benjamin. He is raised in Charleston, South Carolina, and moves to New Orleans in 1828. He is elected the first Jewish U.S. Senator from Louisiana in 1852.
Judah Benjamin is really one of the extraordinary Jewish figures in American history in so many different ways.
This is a man who spoke fluent French and Spanish, who practiced law all over the world, who was a very well-respected commercial lawyer, who was asked to serve on the United States Supreme Court and declined.
Many other American Jews also hail from Charleston, which up until the 1830s is the home of the country's largest Jewish population.
It is always worth remembering that the reason Jews are so accepted in the South is that the lines of division tended to be racial more than religious. The outgroup were blacks.
Slavery in the southern United States is a brutal system that also is its economic engine. For Jewish Southerners, supporting American slavery while being descendants of freed slaves proves to be a complex issue.
It is fascinating, really, to contemplate that here Jews had the holiday of Passover that recalls every year the move from slavery to freedom, and one wonders how come they didn't ask questions about how can we be slaveholders.
In the South, a significant number of Jews own slaves, and some are even slave traders.
The only explanation I can offer is that people who went into the South were so hungry for opportunity, for acceptance, for welcome, that benefit inured them from being able to confront the horror of American slavery.
But opinions on slavery among American Jews are just as split as it is with the rest of the population. In the South, Jacob Cohen of Louisiana is disgusted with the anti-slavery positions of Max Lilienthal, a rabbi living in Cincinnati. Cohen expresses his anger in an unusual and insulting manner. He writes over the rabbi's lithographed image and returns it to him.
Your picture, which has occupied a place in our Southern homes, we herewith return, that you may present them to your beloved black friends, as they will not be permitted in our dwellings. Jacob Cohen, New Orleans.
In 1860, Abraham Lincoln is elected president. His strong anti-slavery views threaten the Southern way of life, and several states begin planning to secede from the Union. On New Year's Eve 1860, Judah Benjamin gives a historic speech to Congress on why the South must form its own country.
Under which the South is now suffering, and for which she seeks redress, seem to arise chiefly from a difference in our construction of the Constitution. Within a few weeks, we part to meet as senators in one common council chamber of the nation, no more forever. We desire, we beseech you, let this party be in peace.
It was not a fiery speech. It was a speech of reluctance, but justice, that we have a right to determine our own destiny. There was a feeling of how hard Southerners had worked to find a way out.